talk about AJ Abrams. He's amazing. He can shoot threes, and he's the fastest three-point shooter. I think he can lead Texas to a national championship.
Adrian Glenn Abrams Jr., born October 16, 1986. Today's feature was an absolute sniper and one of the best shooters I've seen shoot the basketball, period. Not even because he had the best percentages or anything, which he did have, leaving Texas on 40% from three for a 4-year career, showing the consistency to be a trusted shooter beyond the arc, but because of the way he shot the ball. His release was extremely quick and he got it off on any defender no matter what size. Any space you gave him, there was no hesitation with his shot, and he knocked down his fair share of daggers over his Texas career. The most impressive was his shot never changed. It was the same whether running off a screen, lightly or heavily guarded, and no matter the situation. If AJ Abrams raised up for a three and you didn't block it, it's highly likely it went in and left you confused how this little guy scored on you once again. On a team with Kevin Durant, DJ Augustine, and 4 other total players that made an NBA roster, Abrams was the second leading scorer in his sophomore year, shooting 42% from 3, attempting over 8 a game. He was also virtually automatic from the foul line that same year, connecting on 92% of his attempts. His 389 threes made is a Big 12 record, and he's one of the program's best scorers in history. Although Abrams did have a successful career at Texas, leaving as a 1,000-point scorer and all-conference performer, he still went undrafted in the 2009 draft and went overseas to continue his career. An NBA opportunity never came, and his pro career lasted all but 3 years after college before he became a real estate agent, competing in one of the most saturated industries in the world. Sadly, we've seen this case before in basketball, which for the most part, being physically blessed is seen as a skill that can mean the difference in you getting an opportunity at the NBA level or not. Listed at 5'11", AJ was more like 5'9" to me, as in basketball, anyone from 5'8" to 5'10", they seem to round off at 5'11". And 5'11" guys, they tend to list at 6 foot or 6'1", a la Allen Iverson or Chris Paul. His teammate DJ Augustine shared the same diminutive issue, but played 14 seasons in the NBA, leaving as one of the better shooters at 38% for his career from 3, a great reference to show that size, when it comes to shooting, doesn't always matter. With the elevation and quick release Abrams had, there's no question he could have been a solid, knockdown shooter in the league in a Joe Harris Brooklyn Nets role where his job was just to make open shots. Promising young talent, but for these reasons, he never got the opportunity to play in the NBA and display his one-of-a-kind shooting to the world on the biggest stage. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to TEG on Instagram for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. AJ Abrams was a listed 5'11" guard from Sherman, Texas that attended McNeil High School in Round Rock, Texas. He wasn't heavily recruited, but Texas saw something in him enough to offer him a scholarship, and by his sophomore year, he was already one of the program's best players. He helped lead them to the regional finals twice in his college career. He left as the conference and school's all-time three-point leader and third all-time in points, possibly a valuable player on the NBA level, but for these reasons never made the league. Stunt number 1, size mattered. For some people it doesn't, and I'm one of those people, but I do understand the liability it presents to the team having a position not match up in height to the opposition. For me, skill, effort, and heart outweigh being too small. Most recent example is NBA champion Bruce Brown, who consistently outplayed his opponents on his way to signing a huge new 2-year, $45 million contract to basically play anywhere from the 4 position down. He worked on his deficiencies and showed in the right system he could still be a valued asset and not a liability on one end or the other. AJ Abrams didn't have the same pesky aggressiveness on the court, at least on the defensive end, to look past the fact drafting or signing him would give opponents an easier defensive scheme against his teams. As a freshman at Texas, AJ was the 6th leading scorer on a team of 3 NBA players, Tucker, Aldridge, and Gibson, averaging just 6 points a game, but improving drastically in his second year, having to me his best season as an individual, averaging 15.5 points a game, shooting a career-high 42% from 3 at over 8 a game, and 92% from the foul line. Many believed he could have left for the NBA after that season, especially with all the hype Kevin Durant brought to that team that year, and that may have been possible had Abrams have more of an effect defensively to make up for the height advantage he gives up. My advice to hoopers that realize they won't grow to dominant height for their position: focus on these 3 things. Playing harder than everyone else, training to be an elite defender, or have your offensive game so tight that your team understands how you make up for lacking on the other end. Abrams likely gave it his all, but defensively he was average, and offensively he didn't present the tools to consider him elite enough to ignore his small stature. His teammate DJ Augustine is a good example. Showed he could score, shoot, and play make at elite levels, and it was the reasons he was drafted top 10 and played 14 seasons in the NBA. Stunt number 2, out of position. That brings me to AJ Abrams' game style. To me, watching coaching on the college level is confusing at times for the seemingly small fact they don't appear to be too concerned with what a player does with his future after leaving the program. In my opinion, developing a player for life after your program is equally as important as any lesson a coach could teach. That starts with identifying the person and player they are. You have to have someone on staff good at reading players, their personality, on-court strengths and weaknesses, and play style. With that, you have to find a plan to help develop those while also finding a way he fits into your program and helps provide wins. There's no way you see an AJ Abrams and never encourage him to work on and play the point guard position solely. Never in 4 years. And when I say play the position, I don't mean the guy that brings the ball up. A point guard is a leader in every way and knows how to get others involved. This shows an assist that you know the offense and where guys are supposed to be and how to make sure they get there. From there, the pass is easy. Not averaging at least 5 assists on the college level shows that the player likely won't be an adequate point guard in the NBA unless there's a circumstance where the player only stayed for a year, for example. The most AJ averaged was 3 a game, and that was his freshman year. From then, it's pretty much declined over time to just 1.3 as a senior. As a guy that's already a questionable 5'11", that puts him out of position and more of a shooting guard. Stunt number 3, chucking threes. And lastly, what if AJ Abrams or a player like him caught in between positions is not shooting or hitting threes? Then what need do I have for him on the floor? At the NBA level, with guys paid to defend, many much taller, stronger, and more aggressive, him getting his shot off consistently uncontested was likely not going to happen, especially if that's all the player does. He doesn't set guys up, doesn't attack the rim much, and can't impact defense because of his lackadaisical motor. What good is he to me? There's just simply other options. Especially in the 09 era, Abrams entered the draft that even shot better than, or at least adequate enough. For his Longhorn career, Abrams shot 976 three-pointers in his career, while only 647 shots underneath the arc. Yes, he made a high clip, but that shows one dimension, easy to scout and lock down on the NBA level. Even Kemba Walker, Iverson, Muggsy Bogues all did other things to make them valuable, and chucking threes only is a hard item to sell most NBA teams, causing him to go undrafted and not sign at some point. He went overseas for 3 years, then back to Texas where he's a real estate agent, finding his way in a saturated market. All in all, AJ Abrams was a nice shooter, but that's pretty much it. In this day and age, that would have been fine, except he's diminutive as well and didn't distribute or play defense to make up for it. Beautiful shooting stroke and opportunity, but for these reasons, his basketball growth was stunted. Salute, much respect to what he's doing now, transitioning from basketball into business. Good luck on that. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.